Homeopathy is somewhat of a complicated subject. Now, historically, homeopathy was a separate and distinct medical profession. You know, like naturopathy and chiropractic and acupuncture and botanical medicine and homeopathy and allopathy. Allopathic medicine, is what MDs are trained in. MDs don't own medicine. MDs are trained in one piece of the medical pie, but they have pitched it to us for the last 100 years as being the everything. And, you know, everybody else, the homeopaths, the chiropractors, the naturopaths, they're all back of the bus quacks, and it's the MDs practicing allopathic, reductionistic, pharmaceutical-centrist medicine. These guys are the kings of everything, right? And it couldn't be further from the truth. Homeopathy is one section, a subsection of the greater umbrella of holistic medicine. And years ago in the United States, the homeopathic medical profession was a separate and distinct organization. You know, there were homeopathic medical schools, there were homeopathic hospitals, there were homeopathic pharmacies. And homeopathic medicine is of the belief that illness can be eliminated by virtue of a law of nature called the law of similars.
And I definitely want you to explain this. This is fascinating.
So if you went to see a homeopathic doctor and you had a migraine headache, and that migraine felt to you like your head was going to explode, like a balloon being filled with air and it was just going to pop, the homeopathic doctor would reference his research material and discover a medicine which, when given to a healthy person, would produce exactly the same symptom of the head feeling as if it were going to explode. Now, if I had another patient who had a migraine headache that felt as if their head was being squeezed in a vice, then as a homeopath, I would give that patient a different medicine, a medicine which, when given to somebody healthy, produced the sensation that their head was being squeezed between a vice. And similar to the way that vaccinations are supposed to work, when you take a homeopathic medicine which mimics your organic symptoms exactly, the body is brought into a state of balance and the illness disappears. It's a fascinating system of medicine. However, ironically and regretfully, at the turn of the century, in the early 1900s in the United States, that's really when the MDs started to monopolize and dominate the field of medicine in the United States.
The law of similars, though, how did that come about? And that seems to be the foundation for homeopathic medicine. So tell me about the law of similars. When you say you're going to give a similar medicine to the kind of symptom you have, when you say medicine, what do you mean? You mean pharmaceuticals or something else?
Okay, so that's a good point. Homeopathic physicians utilize as medicines substances from everywhere. Some of the medicines that we use come from the plant kingdom, you know, like botanical medicine, like echinacea or golden seal. Some of our medicines come from the mineral kingdom, like sulfur or calcium. Some of our medicines have animal derivations, like bee venom or snake venom. And some homeopathic medicines are made from chemical substances, like potassium bromide or salts of different organic compounds. However, regardless of the raw material that we are starting with, to make the medicine homeopathic, the medicine has to go through a series of something called serial dilutions, which the result of which is a homeopathic medicine. It's kind of like starting with grapes and, you know, ending up with wine.
Right?
Well, you know, wine is very different than the grape, but that's what it came from. Well, when you prepare a substance homeopathically, the resultant medicine that you have acquired has very different properties than the raw material that you started with. And this is perhaps the greatest field of controversy in the world of homeopathic medicine. There are actually 5 laws of homeopathy. This law is called the law of serial dynamization and potentization. So when we start, for instance, with the raw material gold, let's say we take gold and we powder it and we mix the gold with some water, and then we prepare the powdered gold into a homeopathic medicine. The actual medicine that we are using to deliver to the patient has been diluted so much that the possibility of even one molecule of gold existing in the final product are infinite, which means that we've diluted the medicine so much that there isn't any gold left in it. However, when we deliver the homeopathic preparation of dilute gold to an animal or a human being, it produces profound physiological change. As a matter of fact, interestingly enough, gold in its organic metallic state is inert. And, back in the day when knucklehead MDs didn't know what else to do for arthritis, which, by the way, is one of the easiest things in the world to treat, they used to inject gold into people's joints because gold was inert and it had no chemical reactions inside the body. They use it as kind of like a solidifying agent for the joint, right? However, gold in its metallic state is inert in the physical body, but when you prepare gold into a homeopathic medicine, it is a profound antidepressant. It is a profound antidepressant. And so when you prepare something homeopathically, you alter its properties, but the preparation process apparently seems to break the laws of physics as we know it, as we know them, because really there should be no more material substance left in the dilution, but yet the dilutions produce remarkable change consistently, whether it's given to an animal or a human being every time. And the naysayers of homeopathy say that, oh, this is all just placebo, and it's nonsense, and they couldn't be further from the truth.
Could it be because the frequency of whatever it is that you've diluted has the potency in it as well?
Well, we don't know, and there are a lot of theories as to how the homeopathic dilution works. There's an electromagnetic gate theory. There's a resonance theory. I mean, there's all these ideas that people have, but nobody knows. It's kind of like gravity. Homeopathic medicines are like a gravity. We can see that they produce an effect. We can measure gravity, but we have no earthly idea what causes it. I mean, not even Einstein knew what caused gravity. String theory and all these theories about what caused, nobody knows.
But why the level of dilution? How did that come to be a standard?
That happened because back in the 1800s, when homeopathic medicine was born, and it was brought to life by a German physician named Samuel Hahnemann. And in the 1800s, medicine, as it was practiced in the world, was pretty horrific. I mean, that was back in the day when they were bleeding people, when they were giving people large doses of mercury. And, it was heroic medicine. It was kind of the rise of heroic medicine, and the treatment were often worse than the illness was. And there were a group of physicians who recognized that the use of all of these nasty drugs and very caustic pharmaceutical agents were killing people. And, the cure was worse than the disease. And yet something had to be done. Something had to be done to end human suffering. So Dr. Hahnemann in Germany started experimenting with making the medicines weaker and weaker, making them more and more dilute. And what he found, paradoxically, was as he made the medicines more and more dilute, they had better and better action when they were applied correctly. It was really fascinating.
It is fascinating.
The whole kind of recognizing that the law of similars, number one, existed. Nobody knew that before Hahnemann came along. So not only did he discover the law of similars, but he also discovered this law of serial dilution, serial dynamization, or potentization, as it's called with homeopathy. Hahnemann was kind of like the Einstein of medicine back in the day.